Good morning, good day, good evening. Welcome back to episode 111 of Tech of a Tea. And I don't know why numbers like that are really hard for me to say, but it is what it is. So I didn't actually plan any topics for this podcast until about, I want to say like 20 or 30 minutes ago. Like my week recently has been like not just my week, my previous weeks, my life in general has been kind of a mess. Like my videos taking way longer to record than they should, but to be fair, the quality that I'm producing seems like it's somewhat good. People seem to be enjoying it. The numbers been going up, the big sparkly numbers that make you feel the good energy inside your head, feel the good chemicals. And I don't know. I said I need a break. I need a break. I need to move to the new place, and then everything hopefully will be good. But you know what? Knowing my life, probably not. Everything's gonna be exactly the same. It's just gonna be exactly the same with slightly more room. But enough about that. Enough about me complaining about life. That's for later in the show. Have you ever thought that maybe, possibly, this whole internet, crypto, actually, internet one thing, crypto, blockchain another thing, all of this, maybe we've gone a little bit too far. Maybe it's time that we just end this experiment. Maybe we go back to like, the 90s where most people didn't have a connection. You know what? Nobody can have a connection. If you want a connection, maybe you can have like a dial-up connection. That'll be fine. Sure, there's probably some benefit there. Or maybe we should just go back to living in caves. Because holy shit, some of the stuff that is coming out right now, if you don't know where I'm going with this, it's probably the title of this podcast, to be honest. Coke. The Coke that makes the drink, not the Coke as in the drug. Coke is making a Metaverse-flavored Coke. Now, what this means is, fucking no. Fucked if I know. But this is Coca Cola Zero Sugar Bite. I would hope it's zero sugar if it's not real. So the product announcements which invoke the metaverse always leave me feel. Hey, look, PC Gamer actually has some sensible writers. They don't like the metaverse either. For example, Coca-Cola said last week that its new limited edition Metaverse soda is inspired by the playfulness of pixels. That doesn't fucking mean anything. That literally means absolutely nothing. If you didn't think that this whole metaverse thing was basically just, let's make a cash grab while people are stupid enough to keep buying stuff, we have now reached the point where you cannot say that this is not the most corporate thing you've ever seen. I cannot stand the corporate metaverse. I can't stand it. I don't think I'll ever be able to stand it. And this is just sort of the cherry on top of what I think is stupid. So I don't know if this is actually an NFT or anything. NFT, let's see. Is it an NFT? Surely it's an NFT. Is it not an NFT? Is it just like a thing? No. Wait, NFT. Here we go. It entered... Wait, what does it mean to enter the... here we go. Coke says its first time it entered the meta... Okay, so the last time it did an NFT collection, it sold for 217 Ethereum. But it's not saying if this is an NFT. Surely it is. There's no other way that they could be making this besides as an NFT. So you can buy a receipt for a picture that was sold to you by a massive billion-dollar corporation so you can fund the artist. You know what? Look, here's the thing about NFTs. I will meme about NFTs like all day. I don't want anything to do with them in my life. I don't want them to be in any of my family's lives. I've had family members ask me about NFTs. I'm like, stop it. Stop. It was fine when you were asking me about Bitcoin. It was fine when you were asking me about Ethereum because they were getting some really bad advice from people who were like, put all your money into Bitcoin. It's like, no, don't do that. Stop it. Bad idea. Put some of your money into it. Actually, no, that might even be too much financial advice. Think about putting money into it, and then think about putting money into other places that are not all in the exact same place. But that was fine, sure. We can all agree that there is probably some use case for Bitcoin, even if it's just like, even if it's just like making you more money. Like, fine, sure. But like, the worse the NFTs get, the more ridiculous it's going to seem to the regular person who doesn't pay like a ton of attention. The only people I can think of who don't think this whole NFT thing is just fucking insane are the people who are making it and the people who are invested. Everybody else is slowly realizing that this is it's just not something you should have your money in. It's just really not. Oh. Also, you know what? I want to try the Metaverse Coke. If they start, what's Metaverse Coke gonna taste like? Nothing, probably. But hey, if someone wants to buy me it, I'll take it. I'm not gonna pay you for it when you buy it for me, but I will take it off your hands. Please don't do that. Please don't buy the Coke NFT. Please don't. I shouldn't have to say that, but like, please don't do that. Let's talk about something that's not NFTs. Let's talk about something that I'm genuinely impressed that it happened. Not that it happened, that it happened this quickly. Because we all know it was going to happen. Kingdom Hearts 4. So, 3 years ago, I want to say 3 years ago? Was that when Kingdom Hearts 3 came out? Kingdom Hearts 3. 3 came out in 2019, yes. Yeah, 2019 January, so a bit over 3 years ago. Then we had Melody of Memories in 2021? 2020. Melody of Memories was in 2020? Huh. That was the rhythm game that was the Kairi-focused game. By Kairi-focused, we mean she's on the cover art and gets like a couple of cutscenes. I actually kind of feel bad that Kairi finally got a game and it was Melody of Memory, which it's more than nothing. It's more than nothing, but like Roxas got a game. It's entirely focused around Roxas. Riku's never got a solo game, but he has been in two split games with Sora. Then you had the trio from Birth by Sleep. They had their game, obviously split between them, but they all had like a full story for themselves. Then Kairi's here. She gets a rhythm game, and not even the entire game focused around her. But Kingdom Hearts 4. Kingdom Hearts 4, I don't know how I feel about the new graphic style. So, I haven't played 3 yet. I'm excited about 4, but I haven't played 3. I know, that's just... Don't question my love for the Kingdom Hearts franchise. So, Kingdom Hearts 3 was their first not migration, their first movement... Don't start playing the audio, stop it. First movement into the Unreal Engine. Previously, I can't remember what engine it was using, but it was some in-house Sony engine. I think all of the Kingdom Hearts games prior to 3 were using some form of their in-house engine. 3 initially was going to be using the Luminous engine, which is used by, I want to say Final Fantasy 15 now, but I could be mistaken about yeah, I could be mistaken. I know it's a Final Fantasy game. I want to say 15. So, with that game, that came with a change in the art style, because the last time there was a main series Kingdom Hearts game was on the PS2. I guess Dream Drop Distance did sort of bring that art style into a more modern era, but still, that was on the 3DS, and the 3DS basically had the power of the PS2. So before 3 came out, it was really unclear what the game was going to look like on a PS4. Then we ended up getting the art style that I don't think the Kingdom Hearts 3 art style it really works. I think, especially for Sora, it looks a little bit goofy. That's not a joke because Goofy's in this picture, but I feel like Sora's design just looks a little bit off in Kingdom Hearts 3. Like, they weren't sure whether they want to go, a realistic look or they want to go with the more cartoony look. It's sort of this like weird in-between thing, and I don't think it really works. KH4 though, they're straight up just being like, you know what? This is just Noctis. Like, this is just Noctis with brown hair. Like, look at this dude. He's literally just fucking Noctis. I don't think that's a bad thing. The reason why they went with a different art style this time, which we don't know if it's going to be the art style for the entire game, is because now we are no longer in the regular Kingdom Hearts universe, which I don't know the name of. We're now in a world called Quadratum. Quadratum is explained at like I know some of the stuff about Kingdom Hearts 3, like the secret ending, where you fight Yuzora. So Yuzora's world is Quadratum. Sora, for one reason or another that I can't remember exactly off the top of my head, ends up being sent to Quadratum, and this is where he is now. So also Quadratum is basically modern day Japan. So being this modern day Japan world, it sort of makes more sense for him to be in a more modern Final Fantasy art style than the older art style he was using, which I don't know how this is going to work for Donald and Goofy, because we know that they are in the game, but when we saw them in the game, they didn't have the same art style as Sora. I think they were at Olympus Coliseum, because it's right now theorized that they were talking with Hades in that trailer. So that would, because the screen was blue and there was like a blue flame, and then it went red when he got angry, which is obviously most likely Hades. But they still had sort of their old art style. It fit within the Disney theme. So we don't actually know if Donald and Goofy are even going to appear like inside of the Quadratum section. I think it would be really strange if they did. I don't know how you could make Donald and Goofy make sense in the Final Fantasy 15 art style. It would look really strange. There's no possible way I can think of that actually, like, looking good. But the trailer we saw for KH4 is a lot like the trailer we originally saw for KH3. I'll see if I can find the original trailer, actually. Kingdom Hearts 3... No, that's the better trailer. I want the announcement trailer. The announcement trailer for KH3. Where is it? I should have grabbed the link. No, here we go. From 2013. This was the 2013 trailer for Kingdom Hearts 3. Where is it? And obviously Sora looks very different than he ended up looking. Very, very different than he ended up looking in the final version of 3. This is a lot closer to his Kingdom Hearts 2. Obviously, he's got like his Kingdom Hearts 2 clothes, but this is just generally a lot closer to the look he had in 2 than he ended up having in the Unreal Engine. But wow, this game looked... The original look of this game was really bad. Like, this was very early alpha by the looks of it. But you have this section at the end here where, you know, this was all pre-rendered. This wasn't actually in-engine at the time. This is sort of like a concept of what 3 was going to be. In the case of 4, though, 4's trailer is, from what we've been told, in-engine. Now, that could be a lie. That's totally possible, but what we've been told is that obviously cutscene's a bit different. That might not be an engine, that might be pre-rendered, but the bit here, so one really cool thing about this is it actually seamlessly transitions from the cutscene into gameplay. This is something really cool that's happening with a lot of modern games. Because the cutscenes now look so good, you can transition perfectly fine with there being, like, no change in the art quality. So we obviously have a bit of the movement system that was established in Dream Drop and then in KH3. But obviously, considering we're in a different world now, it has to work in a kind of different way. But it's a lot of the flow motion stuff. Also, right here, that was actually really cool. So Sora's, I guess the keychain? Yeah, I guess the keychain, like, shoots out as, like, a grappling hook. Now, this is obviously this is obviously a quick time event, like you would see in a lot of Kingdom Hearts games. Like, quick time events are nothing really surprising when you see boss fights. Like, that's a totally normal thing. Every Kingdom Hearts game has had these. But even so, it still looks really, really fucking good. And I don't want to really make any judgment on... A lot of people are making judgments on what the game's going to be like what the story's going to be like, and anything besides the art style. It's really hard to judge right now because we know so little. Like, there is so little known about this game. All we have is a 3.5-minute trailer. And, like, yeah, this bit at the end with Donald and Goofy here. So, obviously, they look much better, but they are still in the, you know, the art style. Like, this would look really weird. Don't look at me like that, Goofy. This would look really weird if they just stuck him next to Sora in his new art style. Like, it would just really stand out. I do like the way that that Sora's necklace looks though. And also we've got this is the other thing about 4. So, now the fucking mobile game Union Cross, every time a new thing happens in the Kingdom Hearts series, Union Cross becomes progressively more important to the story. So, Union Cross... I'm going to mention some spoilers here, but we found out that all of the Dream Eaters were actually the Keyblade users from Union Cross, and they were, like, put to sleep in the Dreaming Worlds, and every time you're fighting one of the Dream Eaters, you're actually, like, killing one of those kids. And then we have this girl who... I can't remember, her name is Strella something or other. Give me 1 second. Kingdom Hearts... Strella something or other. Yep, that one. Can we see a picture of her from Union Cross? Not the new picture. Here we go. Also, she's got this really smug look on her face. I already like her. She's really cute. Yeah. So, I'm gonna have to go back through and watch every fucking thing that happened in Union Cross, and then also alongside this trailer, Union Cross... Is it Union Cross Dark Road? Was that the follow-up? Or the conclusion of the story? Union Cross... Yeah, Dark Road. So, Dark Road also... got announced with the announcement of KH4 as well. So I'm gonna have to go back and watch everything, and then watch the Dark Road stuff, so I know what the fuck is going on. Because I don't expect them to go back through and make a console version of this game. This 12 hours cutscene. That's for Unchained, and then Union Cross. There's 12 hours of cutscenes, and that's just that. It can be cut down, but like even so, like shortest possible version, 5 hours, and that is without Dark Road, which is gonna add more time to it. So maybe I'll just end up watching like a recap of what's going on, just so I have an understanding of the story. Because I'm not going to go back through and play a mobile game. It's not going to happen. I just want to know what's happening in the game, and then I can understand who the hell this girl is and why she's here. But basically, she's going to be here as our, I guess, female lead. So Kairi was in the... I can't even call Kairi a female lead. Technically, Kairi was a female lead in KH1. Then Namine in KH2. I guess Kairi sort of took back her place in 3, but there was also Aqua and Shion showed up in the DLC, and Namine was there at some point as well. So Kairi didn't really ever get her time in the spotlight, and then Strella something or other is going to be our female lead for KH4. Some people have been saying that Sora looks a little bit older in this. I don't know. So, here's the thing. It's mentioned at, like, one point in the cuts, in this section that he entered Quadratum... Actually, there's subs here, isn't there? There was subs here. Wait, they're just not talking. Oh, there we go. So yeah, they've been asleep. Oh, Sora's been asleep for 7 days in this world, but some people have been saying he does look a little bit older. I don't know if he's actually older. Like, some people have been theorizing that maybe time passes at a different rate in Quadratum than it does in, like, the Disney worlds, but I think what's more likely here is Sora's already... How old is Sora now? Is he, like, 17? 16, 17? Kingdom Hearts... Sora. Let's find out. How old is Sora at this point? He is... Can tell me an age. Age. Nope. Tell me a goddamn age. I know when... What, KH1, he was 12, 13, something like that. I have to say he's probably around like 16, 17. Which, considering that it's in the Final Fantasy 15 art style, makes sense for like how he looks. I don't think he actually looks older. I think it's just the fact that the art style just has to make him look older. When you're not going from, when you're not using a cartoony style, you're going to something more intended to be photorealistic. Obviously, still remotely cartoon. Like, it's not intended to be like, perfectly photorealistic, but closer to reality than like a cartoony style it had before. Obviously, characters are going to look older then. Also, people have been digging this trailer apart, like, really, really hard. Like, there's a section in this trailer, like, right here. People have been theorizing, is this an AT-AT foot? Does that mean Star Wars is here? And probably it does. Star Wars, obviously, it was never in the earlier stuff, but now that Disney, like, now that we're in Quadratum, it sort of makes more sense to do a lot more of these live-action movies. Some people have also theorized that maybe we're going to see some Marvel stuff, which also makes a lot of sense. I would be very surprised if there wasn't any Marvel whatsoever. But besides that, I'm kind of curious how they approach the Final Fantasy stuff, because a lot of the older games obviously had Final Fantasy characters, but you had characters like Squall, you had characters like Cloud, which are all from a time where the Final Fantasy series had a bit more of a cartoony art style. I would be very, 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 very surprised if there wasn't any mention of Noctis in this game. If it doesn't happen, sure, fine. But I would be very surprised if he's not here, because obviously we can't go and use the same Final Fantasy characters we saw before because they are back in the Disney world, unless somehow they make their way over to Quadratum as well. So obviously we're going to have to use new ones, which possibly means lightning, and that would be hilarious. I kind of want lightning just because it would be kind of terrible, but it would be great at the same time. But you know what? Just somehow bring Final Fantasy 14 into this. I want to see some fucking Lalafells running around in the Kingdom Hearts universe. Make it happen. It would be great. Either Lalafells running around or Catgirls. Either of those would be amusing. Catgirls because I just like Catgirls. Lalafells because they have a very evil look to them, and the way they walk around is funny. But also there was another Kingdom Hearts game, another fucking mobile game. We don't know anything about this one. This is Kingdom Hearts Missing Link. So one thing we did see with the new, or one thing we did see, and one thing that was confirmed later on after, in like at the Q&A session they're doing at the event, is that the logo for Kingdom Hearts 4 is a different style, and there's a reason why it's a different style. Now that we are done with the Seeker of Darkness arc, they wanted to change the style to be something that sort of represents what's going on now. But Missing Link, we see the logo at the end. This has the text design, the logo design of the older games. So clearly, and judging by the name Missing Link, it's going to be sort of some connection between the games. So it's going to be something that links the arcs together in some sort of way. But this actually looks like something kind of fun as a mobile game. Like, I didn't really care about playing Union Cross. It wasn't something that really caught my attention. But this is basically just a regular Kingdom Hearts game, but on mobile. But we are seeing a lot of stuff in landscape, which makes me think, especially, you know, how Genshin exists, and Genshin is on mobile and PC, that possibly they would do the same. Plus, all of their game, I don't know if this is in Unreal Engine, but it probably is written in Unreal Engine. Porting it to PC wouldn't be incredibly difficult then. I kind of hope that this game gets a PC version, because otherwise, I'm not going to fucking play it. And then I have to watch more fucking cutscenes. Have you seen... if you haven't seen them, I really recommend you go and check out the like, Kingdom Hearts, story, like, any of the, like, the story explanations, the short version of the story. Here we go. You have things that are, like, a fucking hour and a half long. The here we go. Simplified story, 20 minutes. Yeah, I'm sure that's very, it's got to be very simplified if you're spending 20 minutes on it, but, like, you need a minimum of, like, an hour to properly explain anything going on in this franchise. Like, there's so much shit going on, and I don't expect that now the Seeker of Darkness arc is over, that a lot of it's gonna be just, like, thrown away. Obviously, Xehanort's gone now. I hope. But... oh, that's one thing I saw. One thing I saw in the KH4 trailer. There's a guy in here that stands like, he stands around like old Xehanort does. And I really fucking hope that does not indicate what I think it's going to indicate. There might be someone else who stands like that, and that's fine. But, like, let Xehanort be dead. Let the old man rest. Just no more Xehanort. I'm gonna play it. It's gonna happen. We don't know when it's coming out, but considering they're not going from, like, a in-house engine to a whole new engine, it's probably not gonna be like a 6-year development. Not even 6. It's not gonna be like a 6-year development from the announcement. I'm sure they're working on KH3 way longer than that, probably at least like 8 years or so. But considering that they are ready to show gameplay, or ready to show some level of gameplay, they clearly have something set up. So I wouldn't be surprised by, like, a 2024 release. Some people have been theorizing maybe like a late 2023, but I feel like that's too early. I would be more expectant of a 2024 release. Plus, that gives them time to finish off Dark Road and do whatever they want to be doing with Missing Link. Maybe they'll push it back, though, and then end up releasing some game in between to sort of explain something else about what's going on. That's totally possible. I'm expecting there to be a bunch of games that are going to be sort of required to play to understand the story. But here's the thing about Kingdom Hearts side games. Like, the side games in Kingdom Hearts, all of them are good. Most of them are good. Okay, there are some that were bad. The original... I don't even know what I want to say it's bad. It's very scuffed. Either version of Chain of Memories is very scuffed, but they are very easy because of how scuffed they are. Like, you can break every single fight. And the original version of Coded was the... God, they're not going to make Coded important, are they? Oh no, they're going to... I don't fucking trust Square Enix. So Kingdom Hearts Coded originally was a phone game, but not a smartphone game. It was a phone game pre-smartphone. So it was very, very, very old. I'm not even finding the original version. I'm only seeing the phone, the DS version. No, is that it? I think that's it. Wait, is this it? Yeah, here we go. These sprites look so bad. They look so bad. Like you can see an outline around Sora they put there to make it so you can actually see him. Jeez, this was a very old title that nobody played. But knowing Square Enix and how much they like to make fucking mobile games important, it's probably going to be important. Granted, this one did have a DS remake. The thing about Recoded, though, is, or Coded and Recoded, is it's so out there in the story. It's like about, I think I've talked about it once before. Sora that you play as in that game isn't actually Sora. It's the data of Sora inside of Jiminy's journal, which doesn't even make any sense. And then there's also a Data Riku, who is like the one who manages the journal for some reason. And then it turns out that that data Sora isn't just like in the data world. You're also in, like, Mickey and all that are also in the data world, because they go and meet Data Sora at one point. It's just like, what is happening? How is this game a thing? And it, at least at this point, it seems like it's just a one-off side game that doesn't matter. But I don't trust Square Enix not to do something fucking stupid. But it was Seeker of Darkness arc, so hopefully there's not some like random thing that happened in that game that turns out it was important, but it probably is, because that's what Square Enix likes to do with this series. And I've said this before, but this is what would happen if every Final Fantasy game was connected. The only reason why Final Fantasy story make any sense is because each single game is a individual property. If you had, I don't even know how many Final Fantasy games there have been, because the number titles aren't like all the titles there are. You had like 10, 10, 2, 10, yeah, 10 and 10, 2. I was going to say 10, 3, but no, that didn't exist. There was 13, 2, there was 13, 3. There's probably close to like 30 Final Fantasy games, and Kingdom Hearts is basically that. That's the problem. It's all of these games that are all connected in some way, that all somehow matter to the story, and if you haven't played all of them, some shit's just not going to make sense. Even if you have played all of them, it's still not going to make sense, because they just make shit up as they go. Anyway, that's enough of me ranting about Kingdom Hearts being Kingdom Hearts. I'm excited. I want to play it. It's going to be fun. And yeah. I did mention Final Fantasy. I will be talking about 14 because 6.1 came out a day ago? A day ago for me. Maybe 2 days ago. Whenever it was. Very recently. And a lot of stuff happened in the patch notes. And I'm very excited to talk about it. But we'll get into that in just a bit. Before we get to that, though, I want to talk about something else. I want to talk about this thing that I found that Japan is making, because Japan likes to do Japan things. And the site's just not going to load. Thank you, PC Gamer. You are ruining my show. Can you load? Can you load, PC Gamer? Is going to happen? Oh my god, what is going on here? I don't know why it's not loading. The site was working like 10, 20 minutes ago. 30 minutes ago, when I was first starting stuff. Is my connection just not working? Give me a second. I'm gonna check this. No, my connection is fine. PC Gamer just decided that their site wants to not work. Okay. You know what? Scratch that. We will come back to this topic when hopefully their site is working. Let's go over to Engadget. Here we go. So, Engadget had this article about a new SteelSeries mouse. The SteelSeries Aorux? Aorux mice... yeah, Aorux. I think it's Aorux. I think so. So, this is something that I would consider buying. So, there are these 2-button versions, which are much like my current day-to-day... I haven't even been using this mouse today, actually. I've been using my MMO mouse all day. But that's my general day-to-day mouse. We've got my MMO mouse, my G600 here. I'm just flipping off you guys. And then in the middle, there is like a sort of in-between one. I guess you would use this for... I guess that's the mobile one then. But they are designed to be lightweight mice. So the MMO version is 89 grams, which I think is about, it's a bit over, or bit, no, bit over, bit, it's more than, there we go. It's more than half the weight. Yeah, more than half the weight of my G600. I'm just not a big fan of very light mice, but I'd be up for trying it. The main reason why this has got my attention, though, isn't the glowy lights. The glowy lights are cool. Hey, that's fancy. Not really caring about the sort of the mesh outside either. The problem with meshes like that is your like filthy gamer grease is going to get onto those, and then you have to like sort of clean out. You get like a toothpick and then like clean out each individual section. Now the reason why it's on my radar is because it's a wireless mouse. It's a wireless mouse. It's a wireless MMO mouse. Wireless mice are easy enough to find. Wireless MMO mice, not so much. There are plenty that do exist. Like you have the there is a couple of Razer ones. I want to say Razer Naga? Yeah, Razer Naga, I believe. Yeah, I want to check that. Razer, is that the MMO one? They named them I stupidly. Razer Naga MMO. Yes, the Razer Naga Trinity. Wait, what was the wireless one? The Pro? Whatever the Razer mouse is. My only concern with Razer mice is the drivers for Linux aren't the best. General day-to-day mouse usage is fine. The concern is configuration. And there is a config tool for Razer mice, but it's not really updated that often. A lot of the Razer mice don't work nicely with it. But from my understanding, SteelSeries it's still a bit flaky. Like, the Logitech stuff that I'm using isn't perfect, but it's a lot better than not having it. The only concern is this one is $160 US. So it's like, do I buy one or do I just keep using my G600, which if it breaks, it's like $60. Like $60 Australian. It's a very cheap mouse, like cheap in the MMO mice, gaming mice sense. But I don't know. I'd want to try it out at least. Like a really light wireless mouse actually sounds really appealing. I think it's about, how much is the G305? Let's find out. Logitech G305, because if it's about the weight of my G305, it might be fine. G305, yeah, it's only 10 grams lighter than my G305. I sort of don't, like, the mice that I really have a problem with, using are things like the Final mouse, where they are made to be as light as physically possible. Where it's just like, this just doesn't feel like I'm holding anything. Yeah, it's 42 grams from Final mouse, which is, that's just it's a bit much. It's a bit much. I feel like whenever I hold a mouse like that, it's just gonna like crumble in my hands. I'm just gonna like claw grip it and it's gonna break. Obviously, it's not like it's designed to not break like that. It's built with carbon fiber and all the fancy space tech. I know carbon fiber isn't fancy, but you know what I mean. Like, it's built with stuff intended to be strong and also light. I want to try it out. If maybe not now. Maybe I'll wait for it to be on sale or at some point, like a couple of years now. A couple of years from now, but I certainly want to try it out, and yeah, actually, is it 100 sorry, I said 160, I meant $150 US, which is still a lot of money. Can I buy it in Australia, or do I actually have to import it? I have to import it. The Aorox 3, the replacement for this guy, is available, and that's $85. Where, actually, Logitech G305, how much is that? Okay, it's about double the price of my G305, which, you know, might be worth it, might not be, but I'm gonna keep an eye on it, and if I see it, if I see it pop up, probably maybe under 100, I would definitely consider it. Or if or if my G600 just breaks out of nowhere, I'll consider it. Because I've said that if Logitech decided that they were going to release a wireless version of the G600, I would literally buy it straight away. I want a wireless version of that mouse. I really, like, ever since I started using wireless mice are, like, honestly just better. I think they are just objectively better to use. Sure, the faster speed because of cables are, batteries are, this and that. I just don't like the cable. I really don't. The cable, like, having to move something around that has a cable on it feels like a massive step backwards once you go from a good wireless mouse. Like, modern wireless mice are just really, really good. They're not perfect for every situation. Yeah, I get it. Final mouse, if you have a 360 hertz monitor to play CSGO, I totally get it. But I'm not that much of an elite gamer. I just like my video games, and I like the convenience of having a wireless mouse, and I like just being able to throw it places as well. Like, I can just chuck this in my bag and don't have to worry about the cable getting damaged or anything like that. It's just basically good to go. But while I'm on the topic of peripherals, I've noticed that you don't see it now because I actually fixed it, but I guess it's the pipe / key. It's been sort of lifting up every so often. Like, I don't know if I bump it or something and it just, like, comes unhooked from the scissory switchy thing. But yeah, I've noticed it keeps lifting up, which is not a good sign. Everything on the keyboard is still working fine, but at some point, I'll obviously have to replace this keyboard. I haven't had it for a ton of time, so I'm just gonna watch it to see what happens. It might just be that one key, which isn't even a key I use that often. Like, that's the weird thing. But if this keyboard does end up going, I've got some ideas of where I will end up buying. There are a couple of scissor switch keyboards and some really low profile mechanical keyboards that I have been considering. But I really like my Cherry Stream. It is a great keyboard, and as long as it survives, I'm gonna keep my hands on it. I know there's actually a 10 keyless version of this. The only problem with the 10 keyless version is I actually can't... Can you see? Is it gonna focus on the thing? Yeah, there you go. These buttons along the top here, I actually use these buttons. So that button there that's bound to my email. The one next to it's bound to my opening my browser. And I like having those buttons there. And the only way I would buy a 10 keyless keyboard is if I go and get like a macro pad, like either some like generic macro pad, or I buy something like a Stream Deck. Stream Deck? Fuck, now that... yeah, it's Stream Deck. That's the keyboard one, yes? Yes, okay. I really hate that the Steam Deck exists. It's gotten me, like, really concerned that I've now said Stream Deck wrong. But, yeah. I would buy, like, a dedicated macro pad, either a Stream Deck or something generic, because that's where I actually have my bindings to change my layouts and stop recording, things like that. And it's very convenient to have those, and not having them would be sort of a big step backwards. Yes. Before we... Oh, no. Right. I was going to talk about that PC Gamer topic, wasn't I? Yes. So... I started this podcast off by talking about how the internet has probably gone too far. But we really have, haven't we? So, Japanese company calls its gaming bed setup the forbidden layout. Now, it's not a bed in the Western sense, it's a futon, so it's like a mattress on a thing, which I'm sure for a lot of people wouldn't be that great. If you're used to sleeping on something like this, or like any sort of thin mattress or a futon, something like this probably would be... It would be really nice to have. Like, I look at this thing and I'm like, wait, this is actually... I kind of want one. I kind of want one. So it goes from being... We'll just go through the entire video. So you have this little control. It goes from being like a seat, which, you know, a seat like that would actually be pretty comfy, to be honest. Like, you can stretch out as much as you want and still have your legs hanging up. Or you could lower this section here and be able to like sit down like a normal chair. What else can you do with it? What is this? What is this? Oh right. You can really put it into this elite gaming setup we have here. It's also got a fucking a table to put your keyboard and mouse on. I don't exactly like the keyboard and mouse setup. Like that's not really that much space. It would be great for doing anything with controller, but is it that much? I would have to see it in person. It might not be that much smaller than what I'm already using. Maybe. You know, I take back what I said. Maybe it's actually fine. Oh, wait, was that a separate thing? Oh, that might be a separate thing that he's using to... yeah, that might not actually be with the bed. Right, that's just a stand on a pair... on a set of wheels. I want one of these, actually. Fuck the bed. I want one of these. That's actually really cool. What else do we have? So, it goes up into... So, 35 degrees, 60 degrees... my Japanese is very rusty. Or my katakana specifically is very rusty. Yeah, I'm not gonna. I really should practice my katakana actually. But yeah, this is what you can do. Wait. Oh my god, this is the fucking best setup I've ever seen. I keep full screening and I realize you guys can't see it. So, over on the left-hand side here, this is just a bunch of cup noodles. You've got a desk here where most of the desk just isn't being used for anything. Like, I guess, to be fair, this is a really thin, like a really shallow desk. Yeah, really shallow desk. And it makes sense if you're going to be sitting back here like this. So you have arms attached to the monitors here. I don't know where the PC is. I guess is it in this cabinet? Maybe. There's a stand over here to hang your one shirt. There's a arm here to hold out your phone. That's actually... I kind of want one of these, actually. I feel like that would be useful to put something like my Twitch chat on while I'm streaming. I might have to find out where this came from. Maybe it's something this company sells. It probably is. I would assume that this company sells all of the stuff, probably besides the cup noodles. Looking at this this desk thing again, it's actually not that small relative to what I am currently using. I think it's maybe roughly about the same size. Obviously, it's hard to tell, but I think it might be. Also, are those... I'm not sure... Oh, no, it's got a microphone on. I thought it was a pair of really expensive headphones. No. Either way, this is cool, and I have no idea how much it would cost. Do they have a price? Obviously, the company aims to be self-depreciating, but it's kind of cool set of products for anybody with super limited space or who experiences limited mobility, at least if it's at all comfortable. The bed and mattress cost... I'm sorry, $670? That's really fucking cheap. That's really cheap. What the hell? The mattress is probably terrible. Like, the mattress is probably terrible. But I kind of want one. It's only $670. I would have thought it'd be like $1,000. Surely sitting like this, though, is terrible for your posture. Like, this would surely encourage, like, peak gamer posture. Obviously, it's very comfy, but, like, there's a reason why office chairs aren't structured like this. There's a reason why you would buy, like, a really expensive Herman Miller or something like that. But it does sound like a great idea, at least temporarily. Maybe as like, No, I can't even think of a way. Maybe you buy this just for your gaming setup, and then maybe you have so much money, then you have a work computer as well. So you have your your gaming setup where you lay back like this. Then you have your gaming setup where you buy like a $2,000 Herman Miller chair. Yeah, now that's an option. Like you buy, I don't know, an Aeron chair. Yeah, how much is this? How much is this? I know it's a lot. You're gonna show me prices? No, contact a dealer. No, oh my god. Oh my god, show me. We're going to go and Google it or DuckDuckGo it or whatever you want to say. Brave it. Herman Miller Aeron. How much is the Aeron chair? It is $2,000. Or you can buy it secondhand. You can actually get them pretty cheap. Or you can buy a knockoff chair from Kogan for $300. It literally says replica in its name. Oh, that's actually kind of beautiful. Why the fuck does it think I'm in? Is that Adelaide? Wait, what the fuck? What is that postcode? I don't even know. SA510. Ferryden Park. Why the fuck does it think I'm in Ferryden Park? Okay, sure. That's not my postcode. That's not my postcode. You can see it for all you want then. It's in like the middle of the city. Yeah, this is a knockoff Herman Miller chair. I'm sure it's worth every single dollar. I'm sure it is, and totally not just looks like that chair and is kinda bad. If I had too much money, I would probably buy a Herman Miller chair. Maybe one day I'll buy one. I know that when companies do have like big sell-offs of chairs and stuff, you can get them like relatively cheap in like big sales. I wonder if there are any right now. Let's go to eBay right now. Herman Miller Aeron. Obviously, it's still going to be very expensive, but yeah, here we go. Here is a model from 2015. I don't know what's changed since then. It doesn't have... Wait, is it missing arms? Is it missing arms? Arms? It's missing arms. Well, okay, that one I don't want. But, here we go. This one from whatever year, 1400. Which is cheaper, but very expensive. 14, 15, yeah, you can... Oh, this is the gaming edition Herman Miller, is it? Sure. Oh, this... Wait, someone is selling the Logitech version and not trying to scalp it? Why? That is a limited edition chair. I would be scalping... I would be scalping that. But yeah, if you want to buy a expensive chair like that, you're probably better off just buying a secondhand unless you just have more money than sense. Or you want a specific one and you just desperately want to get it new. That's also an option. I've got one more topic before I talk about Final Fantasy. I want to talk about how fucking busted Elden Ring is. Because holy shit, Elden Ring is a very broken game. The world record right now is 6:59 for the speedrun. 6 minutes and 59 seconds. I think previously it was something like... I want to say something like 12 minutes? So, basically what's happened with Elden Ring is people have discovered a bug called the zip bug. The zip bug basically lets you teleport. Also, you can skip through cutscenes by quitting out of the game, which I think was in... I want to say was in earlier Souls games, but I might be mistaken there. Also, that's in a lot of other games as well. Yeah, here we go. So, I don't understand how it works. It's some frame-perfect bullshit. Yeah, and there you go. You just fucking... And whoop! You just fucking teleport halfway across the map. And then you fall, seemingly to your death, but you enter like a... For some reason, you don't take fall damage. I don't actually know why you don't take fall damage. There's something about the bug that caused that to happen. Maybe it thinks you're like already on the ground or something. No one actually understands why this bug happens just yet. They know the bug occurs, and they know how to cause it to happen. But they don't know why it happens or like what the sort of how far it can be taken. But there is an explanation in the description. There was an explanation in the description here. Why is the explanation gone? Why is... Oh my god. There used to be an explanation. But my understanding with the zip bug is you need to have... Like, there's some very specific requirements which aren't there for a lot of other games that have bugs like this. So... It requires a solid 60 FPS frame rate. If you're dropping frames, it's not going to play nicely. It might just not work or produce like really, really inconsistent results. Also, you can eliminate... I think it's eliminating fall damage or like... Yeah, it's eliminating fall damage or something like that by swinging while you're falling. Also, if you... I think if you fall 13 seconds... The game's supposed to instantly kill you, but attacking while you're in the air can reset that timer for some reason. But anyway, the zip bug. So you have to press W really fast and make these frame perfect presses. I think it's like a 30. You have to like. I wish the explanation was still here. It's something like you press W and then 13, I think like 39 frames later or something like that, you press it again, and it, for some reason, specifically on the exact frame number, causes the game to just shoot you across the map. But it's also very particular about where you're facing. So if you're not facing in the exact right direction, because of how far you're going, you'll be shot way off path. So it's pixel perfect and frame perfect movement, and it just breaks the game. I thought Is 8 was a broken game with how like bad the speedrun for that was, but like this is what would happen if Is 8 was a popular game. People would break the game literally in like the first month, 2 months. When did Elden Ring come out? I want to say a month ago. The game's out. Also, because of how the aiming is done, it's being played at a lower resolution as well to make it so the pixels are bigger on the guy's screen. Because, yes. Right now, this is the fastest it is known to be doable. There is a possibility it can be made quicker. Obviously, he makes a couple of minor errors, so obviously those can be phased out as well. But from what we've seen so far, like this is as busted as you can make it at this point. But knowing how busted it is so far, I wouldn't be surprised if it gets some sort of like fucking teleport to the final boss in the first area. Like that wouldn't even surprise me if that happened at this point, and it becomes one of those games where you like finish the speedrun in 10 seconds. In a year from now, I wouldn't be surprised if we're at least on sub 5. Like, sub 5 is entirely, like, it may not even be possible, but considering just how stupid this run already is, like, it seems like it's doable. Also, you can get this boss to come after you, and if you do the zip to this location over here, like, a really far away location, for some reason the boss just dies. And no one knows why the boss dies yet either. So you go through this, you keep falling and falling and falling, and you think you're gonna die, and then the boss just dies. And the theory right now is that you go so far away that the boss platform despawns, but because you're in a boss fight, the boss itself can't despawn, but the boss can still fall to its death because the bosses can still take full damage. So if the platform despawns, then the boss is gonna just fall to their death. That's the theory right now, but it could be something completely different. Maybe like if you're a certain distance away from a boss for whatever reason, it just dies. It just dies for memory conservation reasons or something. There's also this fun one here as well. So I need to get around to actually playing Elden Ring. So this is going up towards the final boss here. they do the zip again. The guy's freaking out at this point because he thought he was only going to get like a 730, and then he gets a sub 7. So he gets in here. He gets fucking tombstone or suplex by the boss. Whatever. Get the tombstone by the boss. Then he gets the god slain, and now he's beat the final boss. Just like, what is even happening? And because he beat the final boss, then even though he just died, he got teleported to the final area. And the game's over. She's like, what is happening? I recommend that you actually go and watch this entire speedrun for yourself and just see how stupid it's gotten. I'm excited. I'm excited to see how much worse it's going to get. I don't know how it's going to get worse. Like, that's the thing. I don't know how it's going to get worse, but it's clearly going to. There's no way that every single bug has been exhausted this early into the game's life. And this bug is on latest patch, because the latest patch is the most stable version and the one that has the most, like, the least chance of crashing your game with this bug. So somehow the bug has been getting better for speedrunners as the game is getting patched. It doesn't make any sense. I kind of hope that From Software doesn't fix it, just leaves it in the game, because it's not something that is ever going to occur in normal gameplay. Like, Elden Ring is a very, very broken game, but it's broken like Portal is. It can be torn apart if you know how to tear it apart, but if you don't, if you're just playing the game like you normally would, no problems. Like, the game works flawlessly. And I think that's sort of the best speedrunner experience for the general player. Like, you have games out there like Mr. Krabs Overdose on Ketamine. That's a great game that is very broken, intentionally so. But, like, that game is broken regardless of how you play it. But if you try to break it, it's obviously going to get worse. But Elden Ring, sure, there might be some bugs here and there. Like, every Souls game is going to have bugs here and there. But they're not bugs for the most part, at least from my prior experience with Souls games, that are game-breaking. But you can still break the game if you're trying to, if that makes any sense. Maybe it doesn't, and if it doesn't, well, I won't say, but basically, people having fun speedrunning, and it's gonna get stupid. Anyway, what else do we got here? What else do we got? Oh, I actually want to talk about, before we get into the Final Fantasy stuff, I want to talk about some stuff that YouTube has actually been doing well, which I didn't think I would ever say, like, any time as of late at least, that YouTube is doing something well. So recently I was just going around my YouTube studio. I was in my analytics section and I noticed that there was a new tab there, the research tab. So basically what this is a section where you can go and search for whatever term you want to search for. Let's say Linux in my case. And it will tell you, like, how it's, like, how the search criteria is actually going, or how many people are searching for that, and then, like, similar terms to that term, like how those terms are related. So in this case, Linux, Kali Linux are related, Linux operating system, Linux commands. So this would actually help with doing things like tagging, and also sort of video ideas that might be floating around. Like, let's say I want to talk about Lapsus. Right now, no one really cares about Lapsus anymore. It's sort of slowly fading down. Let's say I wanted to talk about, Steam Deck. Yeah, Steam Deck. That's a great example. Let's see, Steam Deck. Is it going to have, like, a term in here for it? No. Let's search for just Steam Deck. All of this is down to here. Steam Deck GTA 5? Why is that on the list? I love how Steam Deck Windows is actually kind of low. Like, no one cares about Steam Deck Windows. But this gives you an idea about what's going on the platform. But more interestingly, is the Your Viewers search. So this is good for finding general topics, things that you might want to maybe start exploring. But if you go to Your Viewers search, it shows you things that people who actually watch your channel are interested in seeing. There is a there is a really high number of people who watch my channel, and presumably every other channel, that search for this problem here. There was a problem with the server 400, which is a bug on YouTube where videos just won't play. And I think a lot of this is related to YouTube Advanced. Because I guess Advanced stopped working or something like that. Maybe that's the case. But another thing about this is it doesn't just show you the search term there. You can actually go and click on it as well, and it will take you to the search results for whatever that term is. So you can see like when the most recent videos are, when who are making videos, things like that. I think this is actually a really positive change. I think there are things that could be done that would improve the information here. So clicking on the dots over here will let you go over to Google Trends, but I kind of wish some of this trend data was also like inside of here as well. Rather than just saying hi, maybe giving me like a, I don't know, whatever these numbers represent in here. Like, is that 100? What does that mean? 100% interest? I guess that means 100% interest. Yeah, I guess that's what that means. Maybe give me that so you can see like this is how high it is. Because high, like sure, high is high, but how high is this high? Like, is this like 30% lower? Is this 5% lower? Like, how much lower is it than this right here? Presumably, it is ordered by the actual data value in the back end. I would guess that. Maybe it's ordered in just some random value. Like anything that's labeled as high is just gonna be like put randomly in here. It's certainly not alphabetical order either, so it couldn't be that. I don't know. I can also go and change like where I want to see it by. So if I want to see it by like just Australia, there's not enough people to really get enough results there, but you have a bit of it there. You can go just by Canada, just by United Kingdom, things like that. Right now, it's very limited. You can't go and change the language it's in. Oh, there's also this content gaps feature as well. So content gaps, there's not. Huh. So basically, content gap is when there is not a lot of videos on some topic, or not a lot of like recent videos, or people are searching for this a lot and they're not finding videos they want to be seeing. So there is, I don't know, clearly it's not working super well right now because there's clearly a lot of videos on how to set up Yuzu and how to set up probably PCSX as well, and I wouldn't be surprised if RPS 3 is there as well, even though that probably wouldn't work super well, I would guess, because PS3 emulation doesn't really work well on PC anyway, so on a Steam Deck it would be a bit rougher. But anyway, yeah, I think this is ultimately a good change for the platform, and I hope it gets expanded. I hope these clear bugs do get addressed as well, and hopefully they just don't take it away in a couple of years where everyone starts to like it. Like features like this were already built into extensions like vidIQ and TubeBuddy, but not everyone's going to be, using those extensions, and sort of just, it's nice to have something like that built directly in there and let every creator experience some nice things. Speaking of things that might be nice, might not be nice, another thing that YouTube is doing. So YouTube is finally, I think I made a video about this like 2 years ago, finally starting to do something about all of the spam on their platform. So YouTube over the years has been getting worse and worse for this, especially now with the crypto stuff, and you've got a lot of you've got the people with the obvious fake conversations. You've got NFTs. You've got gaming keys. Like, there's a lot of just fake shit floating around the platform, and sort of everybody just acknowledges it's terrible. And YouTube, I'm sure, has been very aware of how much of a problem it is and just hasn't been really doing much. Like, they address one thing, and then the next thing everybody's talking about for 6 months, and then they finally decide to do something. And it's not like any of the, besides the people who are having like these fake conversations, which I'm sure would be a bit harder to detect, with the ones where they literally just post the exact same thing, how that is not dealt with in a day is beyond me. Like, I genuinely don't know how you can see literally something that is the same, and you're like, oh, no spam. No spam. Sometimes it does at least get put into held for review. Most of the time, though, it really doesn't. My only concern, so YouTube is going to be adding in levels of spam strictness. Now, my only concern here is that YouTube is completely incompetent, which is a fair concern to have because they seem to be. YouTube, whenever they say they're going to be addressing any sort of like cyberbullying spam, they either do nothing or they go really, really far. And whatever the default setting for this is going to be, it's probably going to be stricter than whatever is currently set right now. I would be very surprised if more legitimate comments didn't get hit. So every so often I'll go through my held for review and just see what's going on there. And I'll see so many comments from like, this is not spam, this is not offensive, there's nothing wrong with this. Like, someone will be talking about some random thing happening with their terminal, and it's like, this is possibly spam. Like, no, it's not. What are you doing? Like, how did you get this is possibly spam, but someone posting something like this, where they are pretending to be the creator of a channel, that is not spam. Like, how in the world is that even a thing? Honestly, anyone who puts Telegram in their name should just be instantly blacklisted from commenting. There is no situation where you should have Telegram in your name. Also, if your name is the same name as the creator channel, I feel like you should just be automatically put into held for review. Like, sure, there might be other Marcus Brownlees, there might be other Linus Tech Tips, there might be other this, there might be other that, but I think it's safer to let that one person get hit and deal with all of the spam bots. I know there are ways you can get around it, and then they'll start using Unicode symbols, which look like the English, Latin, whatever you want to call it, alphabet. The alphabet we use in English. But even so, I think as a good first step, and there are ways you can analyze that text anyway to extract out what the meaning is trying to be. So that's not even that big of a deal. I just think that if you're trying to impersonate whoever the creator is, you just don't get a chance. Like, you don't get a chance to post anything. Like, don't even have a comment box there. Just remove the comment box. Remove that account's ability to comment on that account. I think that would be certainly a nice change, but that's never going to happen. I can certainly hope, though. Now, I said it was going to happen. Let's talk about Final Fantasy XIV. Let's talk about 6.1. I am actually really happy by some of the changes. From what I've seen, none of the changes for the stuff that I care about have been bad. I know some of the samurai mains are molding. Like, if you go to the Final Fantasy XIV forums right now, they're always molding about something, but the samurai mains are not very happy. There's a couple of threads. I'll see if I can find them, actually. There is a couple of threads where people are like, I am no longer going to be a samurai. Where is it? Sam, where is it? After reading the patch notes, I guess I won't play samurai anymore. And there was another one in here as well. People are just sort of, Hisatsu Kaiten, this is the change that was made to samurai. They removed a lot of their abilities, and There's a lot of people molding about those changes, but I don't play Samurai, so it does not affect me. I play jobs that were improved. I am worried about 6.2 when they end up changing my Astrologian, but that's a problem for future Brody. For current day Brody, the patch notes look pretty goddamn nice. So there's a lot of MSQ stuff that I don't care about because I'm not in 6.1 MSQ. New Chronicles of New Era, new role quest, also don't care about that. Oh, right, they also finally fucking fixed, not fixed, they finally improved, a lot of the early dungeons in A Realm Reborn, the original expansion. Now, Castra Meridianum, Meridianum, whatever it is, and also Praetorium are much, much less terrible. So both of them are now 4-man dungeons rather than 8-man. So that's already going to be a bit of a weird change. But they've also been... See if I can find exactly how it's been split out. So here we go. Praetorium has now been split out into the Praetorium and the Porta Decumana. And then I think the final fight, I want to say the final fight is a quest. Is a quest battle. Also Cape Westwind, which was a 8-man that you literally finished in 30 seconds. Like, this fight was actually busted as jobs like got buffed over time and there was the stat squishes. Cape Westwind literally became a broken dungeon. You could literally finish it without your job crystals at level 50. Like, it just didn't make any sense how that duty works. So it's being removed now, and yeah, it's been removed now and replaced with a dungeon. Not dungeon, a solo quest fight. Solo quest duty. The La Habrea fight and the Ultimate Weapon fight are now being separated out from Praetorium, which is nice to see. I do wonder how these changes are actually going to play now. Obviously, they would have to reduce the amount of enemies in Castrum and Praetorium. Presumably they would. If they didn't, that would be very strange, because there was way too many enemies for it to be 8-man. Like, way too many enemies for it to be 4-man, sorry. You could easily die if your healer wasn't paying attention and you wanted to pull, like, most of the dungeon. So hopefully that has been addressed, or maybe enemies are weaker there now or something. I haven't had a chance to play it, so I can't really talk about sort of how that's actually going to go. Let's see. Where were we at? So we were at about here. Some minor changes to treasure hunt stuff. What is it? Grand Company stuff? Oh, there are new symbols you can use for your Grand Company chest. Oh, but the one of the big things is housing. So housing is now available on the Australian servers, and the way they've done housing now is kind of weird. So they've changed housing from being you click on the area and then you buy it when it becomes for sale. Like, so you have to stay there literally until it goes for sale anytime in a random 24-hour period. Now it is a lottery, but they've also changed, like, what is being allocated. So now the first 18 wards of a housing area are dedicated to free companies, so dedicated to guilds. And then the rest of them is for solo housing. So I think you have, like, 6 wards? Something like 6 or 7 wards for solo housing, and then all of the other wards for free companies, which doesn't make any sense. Like, there's not that many free companies on most servers. On the Australian servers right now, nobody's having any trouble, like, bidding on a house, because you can, like, there'll just be one guy bidding on the house. So I don't know why they've done it like that. I thought it was fine when anybody could buy any houses. I think the lottery is a good change, but I don't know why they... Yeah, here we go. So 1 to 18 a free company, and then 19 to 24. Why it's like that is is really stupid, and it says it's going to be reassessed like every patch. It has to be changed. Like that's just a bad setup. It should probably be primarily private estates, and then like maybe 10 wards for free company, and then the rest of them private estates. I think that's more reasonable. Or better option, instanced housing, so anybody can buy a house. Or other option, you just add more wards. You just add more wards and then there's more houses. That's an option. You don't have to have 24 of them. You could have 30 of them and it would work fine. Unless they've got some like weird setup in there, you know, knowing Square Enix, they've probably got some weird like legacy database stuff that's causing a problem there, and that's the reason why they haven't actually increased it that much. There's also random new housing stuff that I don't really care about. There's some new stuff in the Gold Saucer. The Gold Saucer stuff is actually really cool. So this is like the gambling area. I don't care about the new minion that was added. What I care about is the new emotes that were added. FF14, Sheath, and we just go up Sheath. Go to Mioni's channel. Here we go. The new Draw and Sheath emotes. So basically, they are an extended version of the way that you would bring out and put back your weapon. And the video is not going to load right now, is it? Because that would be very convenient. My God, it's actually not going to... No, don't... There we go. Okay. Okay. Cool. Let's look at one that actually looks good. That's not books. Oh, Dark Knight 1 looks really good. Yeah, Dark Knight 1's actually a really cool one. So let's go back a little bit. So you like grab your weapon out and then swing it over, as opposed to the way that you would normally do it, which is just like quickly put your weapon out, put it back. Like that's fine for high paced combat, but and most of the time you don't need to put your weapon away anyway. Like I don't think there's a single time we need to put your weapon away in the first place. So I honestly might just replace my. I'm kind of thinking about replacing my regular draw and sheath animations with the emotes. Just changing the hotkey. All of them look really good, to be honest. Like, the White Mage one actually looks really, really cool. That's the standard version. And then the emote version, you like this spin, your hands across. It's fucking cool. Like, this is just stupid RP stuff, but I think it still looks really, really cool. And it's not just with the combat jobs, it also works with the crafters and gatherers as well. Where's one of those? I know that there was one for mining in here. Before, I think it was before Dancer. Where was... I'm not going to be able to find that now, am I? Oh, the Paladin one looks really cool as well. Yeah, the Paladin one actually is really cool. Man, I want these emotes. They only cost, like, I think it's like 100,000 MGP each. So it's actually fairly cheap. Right, here's the one for the miner. See, like, you swing your pickaxe out and... Oh, it just looks fucking cool. Like, look at that. Honestly, all of them look really good. See, here's the one for the ninja. Oh! Man, how could I not replace the regular emotes with that? Unless there is, like, one situation somewhere in the game where you need to actually sheath your weapon. So these were originally shown off, I want to say in the original, like, Endwalker trailer, or maybe it was, like, media tour stuff. It was shown off somewhere, like, early Endwalker, and it was sort of being talked about that these were going to be the new draw and sheath emotes. Like, they made them more realistic, more cool, just in general, actually. But ultimately, we never saw them, and then they ended up being released with 6.1 here. How do you even make a monk look cool? How does that even... I love that his gear sets are not set up properly for every single job, so some of them are, you know, you're just missing pants. Machinist looks pretty nice as well. I can't think of a single job in here that looks bad. Oh, a big weeb one. Okay, let's see the samurai. Okay, that's cool. I'm I'm just nerding out over fucking drawing sheath animations. I'm gonna get those basically straight away. There are new hairstyles for the fucking furry race, but they cut off their ears, so they look really fucking weird. You can see the ears here. So the older hairstyles, you can see the ears, but they decided to add some ones that were already available for the other races, and they just they don't work. They really don't. And I know there is already a mod to fix the Hrothgar. FF14 Hrothgar ear mod. Where is it? I know I saw it on the FF14 forums before. I'm not seeing it. Maybe it was on the forums or on the Reddit. It might be on the Reddit actually. Here we go. FF. What is the subreddit called? Final Fantasy 14 or FF14? FFXIV. Oh, let's go. Let's just go into my history. That'll work. Yeah, do that, Brody. That's a sensible idea. Yeah, it's FFXIV. Was it in here? It might not have been. Yeah, it might not have been. I might have just saw it somewhere. I know I did see it somewhere. I just didn't save the link. There is definitely a mod out there to replace the, or to bring back the ears. Which is kind of funny, because right below the absolutely scuffed Hrothgar, there are the new Vieira hairs. And they work fine, because, of course they do. No one plays Hrothgar, so why should we make Hrothgar actually work properly? That is way too much effort. There's just way too much effort to have the hair work like you would expect, you know, hair and ears to work. Like, where are the ears? Like, who took them away? Where did they go? They're like clearly not hiding under the hair here. In the last live letter or the one before, these were shown off, and Yoshi P was like, "Oh yeah, the ears are hiding under the hair." Like, have you ever seen ears? Like, these are no smaller ears. Oh, they're a little bit smaller. They're a little bit smaller than the ears on the cat girls. But like, where did they go? Where did they go? Anyway, oh, here's the other thing that a lot of the gaming outlets are talking about. So, FF14. So basically, the game now has been adding in a lot more solo friendliness to its dungeons. You can see like Metro UK, which I didn't even know talked about gaming, and Rock Paper Shotgun and places like that. PC Gamer as well. Basically, what's been done is there's a system added in the Shadowbringers expansion called the Trust System, which basically let you go into a dungeon with NPCs, but it was only in there for Shadowbringers and Endwalker. Now, though, they're actually going to be expanding it for the earlier expansions, so you can go through all of these story dungeons in A Realm Reborn completely solo. You don't have to have friends. You don't have to queue up with randos. Which, in some ways, I think this might be a good change. I think it might be a good change for the people who proud themselves in being... It's good for two people. The people who proud themselves in being bad, the people who really just always want to go through these dungeons really, really slow, and the people who are new to the game, who go through the dungeons slow just because they are not used to it. I remember the first time I went through a lot of these dungeons as a tank, I was going through it really slow. I just didn't really feel that comfortable running through it. But now if you want to take it slow and you don't want to be pulled ahead, especially if you're not playing tank, like as a tank, you can sort of set the speed of the dungeon. But if you play a DPS, actually especially if you play a DPS queuing is really bad. Like sometimes it might take you like 30 minutes to queue into Bowl of Embers, or 30 minutes to queue into, like, Brayflocks or something like that. And this just makes it easier. This just makes it easier, and now you can just play perfectly fine. Unlike the trust system for Shadowbringers and Endwalker, you won't be able to select who is going to be in your party. It's just going to be random people around, which makes sense. It makes sense, I guess, canonically, because during A Realm Reborn, during Heaven's Ward, the Scions aren't really that well established of an organization, and there's many points in those two expansions where they completely collapse, and basically the only Scion around is you and Alpha Nord. Actually, like, you know what? Technically, Tataru. Tataru's around, but she's not exactly a combatant. So it makes sense that just, you know, random NPCs that are adventurers would be helping you out, and that does make sense with the story as well, because when you go into these dungeons, you're asked to find, like, some adventurer friends to help you take over this. So it doesn't matter if they are the players or just random things like this, it still fits. So right now, it's going to be in Realm Reborn for any of that stuff, not for any of the Realm Reborn patch content, but that presumably comes later. I know that in 6.2, Heaven's Ward is supposed to be coming, then presumably 6.3, 6.4, then there'll also be Stormblood, which is good, because queuing Stormblood is not fun. I kinda hope, I don't think it's gonna happen. It would probably be really difficult considering the complexity of the mechanics, but I kind of hope that it is gonna get added for Alliance raids, because queuing Crystal Tower is easy enough. So Alliance raids are 24-man raids. Crystal Tower is easy enough to get a party for, but from my understanding, the later Alliance raids, especially on Australian servers, are it's a bit hard to find people. Partially because they are harder dungeons, and people don't know the mechanics as well. Partially because there's just less people in those areas. But we'll see what ends up happening as time goes on. And what else do we have? There have been some changes to Wondrous Trials. There is this really cool mount, which is basically a Goobu, but it is a big Yeti. I'm fine with that. It looks cool. I want one. Oh, here we go. So there were quite a few job changes. Many of them very inconsequential, like the Astrologian. It just increased the time of one of its damage over time abilities, which probably should have been there from the start, because the higher level versions of Combust already have 30 seconds. But sort of the most exciting change that happened was with not with the Samurai. I don't care about Samurai. I know some people do, but with the Dark Knight. Dark Knight is fixed. So all of the tanks had their tank stance basically reduced in time, so swapping tank stance is easier. I don't know why it's 3 seconds and not just 1 second. I don't know why there is a recast timer on your tank stance. I don't know why I can just turn it off. Like, why I can't just turn it off and on basically at will. But it's been reduced from 10 seconds to 3 seconds, which is a good improvement. Whatever. The potency of Flood of Darkness was reduced, so that is now weaker, but Flood of Darkness gets upgraded at some point. I can't remember exactly what level. FF14 Dark Knight. Let's find out what level Flood of Darkness gets replaced. So Flood of Darkness you get at 30. And then Flood of Shadow you get at 74. Flood of Shadow is the upgraded version. Yep. So it doesn't really matter if the weaker version is nerfed. Like, it's not that big of a deal. But these 3 changes here are the big things that happened. So Blood Weapon previously was a 10-second timer. So it was very easy to use your Blood Weapon and then not get the absolute most effect of your Blood Weapon. So Blood Weapon would give you Blood Gauge and would restore some of your MP. MP is obviously very useful, but the more important thing there was your Blood Gauge. Your Blood Gauge was how you do your really, like, big dick damage, and if you miss out on some of that, it's going to slow down your rotation, slow down the amount of damage you can do, And ultimately, this is just a good change. So now it's 5 stacks, which is how many hits you could optimally get if you were doing your 10-second absolutely perfectly. But now it's 15 seconds. So pretty much you have to be terrible at the game not to use your blood weapon properly. Granted, I'm terrible at the game, so it's probably going to happen. Also, Stalwart Soul is now not at 72. So Stalwart Soul is this ability right here. So basically, it deals unaspected damage with a potency of 100 to all nearby enemies. And it is a combo with Unleash. Unleash is your other AoE ability. So now, below level 72, you fucking have an AoE combo. Like every other tank does. Why it wasn't like this already? I don't know. I don't know. But it's a good change, and I'm very happy. Also, this ability, where is it? Where is my Stalwart Soul? You get the same level as Edge of Darkness now, which is fine. But you also get MP restored, and it gives you blood gauge, which is nice. This combo doesn't heal you, though. So, under certain situations, you might still want to go your Soul Eater combo rather than your AoE combo. But most of the time, if your healer isn't asleep, now just doing the AoE combo in any content past 40 it makes just more sense. Plus, by giving you more MP back, actually, it would give you more MP back at a quicker rate, because the Soul Eater combo is a 3-hit, and you only get your MP back on the 2nd hit. So now it's a 2-hit. With the AoE combo, it's a 2-hit, but you get your blood gauge, you get your MP at the end. So it's slightly quicker, which would allow you to bring out more Flood of Darkness. That's actually probably why they nerfed it. Yeah, that's probably why they nerfed it. Otherwise, you would be getting your Flood of Darkness way quicker, and you would be doing more damage then. Maybe. That might not be why they changed it, but I feel like it probably is. But the main change that was done was fixing Living Dead. So, Living Dead is the sort of the tank identity in Vuln. All of the tanks in the game have their own major invulnerability. Warrior, I can't remember what it's called. I don't play Warrior yet. At least I didn't get my Warrior to 50. Gunbreaker has Super Bolide, which is he shoots himself in the head and then becomes invincible. I'm not even joking. You go down to 1 HP and then you're invincible for I think it's 10 seconds, something like that. So if your healer's asleep, you might die after the invuln runs out. Then on the Paladin, you have Hallowed Ground, which is you get your invuln and you get your invuln. That's what happens. Then for Living Dead, previously what would happen is you would pop it. If you died while you were doing Living Dead, then you would be put into your Walking Dead phase, and you would be invulnerable. The problem that could happen, though, is if you healed someone too quickly while they were Walking Dead, it would actually get rid of the Walking Dead. So you could actually heal, if you were with a White Mage, for example, White Mage has Benediction. Benediction is an insta-heal. So if you cast a Benediction, you would go to full health. Because you're at full health, the Living Dead would go away, and you just got 1 second of invuln. And you just wasted the entire ability, and it's on a 5-minute cooldown. So now it doesn't do that. Now you will go into your Living Dead, you will get your invuln, and you have heals on your own attacks, but if you get to full health, you still are going to be cleansed of Living Dead, but you're still invulnerable. You'll just be in a different state called Undead Rebirth. And it just works now. So technically, from my understanding, I'm pretty sure the Warrior invuln is very similar to the actually, I'll just check it. I'm pretty sure the Warrior invuln is basically the same as a Paladin invuln. From my understanding, Gunbreaker now has the worst invuln, because Gunbreaker now also lowers you to 1 HP and doesn't have a way to restore your HP. Where is the invuln? Here we go. So yeah, home game. Home gang is the warrior one. Yeah, so it's exactly the same as the tank one. The tank one. As the paladin. As the paladin one. So now the gunbreaker has the worst invuln because if your healer is asleep, then you die. Which is nice. And Gunbreaker got no changes. They got the change to their tank stance, and that's it. There are also changes to Paladin, but a lot of these changes are stuff that I haven't got to yet because it's like, I think all of these ones are Endwalker stuff, and a lot of this other stuff happens during Stormbreaker? What the fuck is Stormbreaker? Stormblood and Shadowbringers. But there were some changes to the White Mage as well, and White Mage fans are now very happy because White Mage is also fixed. So, White Mage had a serious problem with the amount of MP you had. Basically, you would run out. And when your healer runs out of MP, bad things happen. So now, all your your main GCD abilities have been completely cut with the amount of MP they cost, especially early content. Early content is where it's the biggest problem because you don't actually have a lot of off GCD stuff that doesn't cost you mana. The other problem that White Mage had is so it had this really big ability. It had a Flatus Misery. This took you 8 GCDs, so 8 seconds? 10 seconds. It took you a long time to cast it. Problem though, previously, it was literally a damage loss. So there's another ability called Glare. Glare is your main GCD ability, and by casting 4 glares, it did more damage than a Flatus Misery. So it didn't make any sense to use. Now a Flatus Misery, I think... Give me 1 second. I'm going to check what the potency is. I want to say it's more. FF14 White Mage. Glare. 209. Yeah, it's 290. So 290 by 4 is 1060. Yes. So previously, a Flatus Misery did 900 potency, and 4 glares did 1060. Now a Flatus Misery does 1240, which is how it should have been from the start. So anyone playing White Mage or the tanks are very happy right now. The summoner changes are a bit weird because there's been a lot of... It's increasing your recast time, which is going to make the job feel slower. I don't know how I feel about it. I'll have to go and try it out to see if it's really that bad. But it might not be that big of a deal. It could be, but it might not be. But your damage is being increased. So, I don't know. As I said, I'll have to play it, and then I'll see how it goes. But apparently, the samurai and ninja fans are not super happy. What else do we have in here? Oh yeah. Right, there was this is something that people were molding about on the forums. So there were some dungeons that you could actually fall off the edge and die, and people are angry that now if you fall off the edge and die, you can be revived. Previously, you couldn't revive. So if you fell off the edge of, like, the Naval, or the Naval Hard, or Hall Leader Extreme, you would be dead the entire fight. And on the extreme fights, that could be bad. That could be really bad. Now, it doesn't happen. Now you can be rezzed. And for some reason, people will be like... There are people being like, oh, but this makes the game easier now. It makes it so easy. And no, it doesn't. Shut the fuck up. No, it just makes it less annoying. It just makes it less annoying because if one of your healers have a fucking... Like, they fuck up a mechanic, now you don't raid wipe because of something dumb. Like, that's an improvement. Also, it's old content. Like, a lot of this stuff is really old... And it just makes sense. Like, this is fixes that should have been there from the start, to be honest. Oh, right. There was also some changes to some of the early dungeons. So Copperbell Mine and Totorak, which are the two of the early dungeons, sort of had a pretty big rework. We're gonna zoom out, reset. Here we go. So the boss rooms in Copperbell have all been sort of they've been changed, and I feel like they are a big downgrade. Now all of the boss rooms are just these circle boss rooms, like every other boss room in the game. It's just like, I honestly, I don't really feel like there was any need to change them. I know why Totorock was changed. That makes sense. That dungeon was a little bit funky, but I don't feel like there was any need to change the way that these dungeons were laid out. I guess it kind of makes sense because as time's gone on, like with Cape Westwind, the mechanics don't exist. So the final boss, it spawns like little extra enemies. They start to like mine a wall, but the boss dies before they do anything. So it sort of makes sense to get rid of them and change the way the dungeon works, but I don't know. I don't like the fact that a lot of the dungeons are just circles. Like, what I do like, though, is the way that Totorock works now. So Totorock was it's a dungeon that could get kind of confusing for new people. So when you got to this point originally, there was like a path through here, through here, and then this path here. There was literally no reason to go through this path, and in fact, if you went through this path, you would actually break the dungeon, because you wouldn't get the photocells. So, yeah, yeah, it was bad. Now you are forced to go through this path. Also, the photocells are gone. Photocells are basically little items you need to collect, and if you got 3 of them, you could like unlock the next area. If you didn't grab them, well, you had to go all the way back through the dungeon, and then you can get through. It's an improvement. It will make it much easier to run from here to here and then not stop. I wonder if they still have the barriers though. They probably still have the barriers in here. You just don't have to go and get the cells. I'll try it out. I'll try it out and see what it's like. What else do we got in the patch notes? A lot of the it's kind of weird that a lot of the early dungeons get reworks. Like a lot of other MMOs, they don't really go back and fix a lot of the early content. It's like the early content is the early content. Like, play the end game. Final Fantasy is like, you know what? No, it kind of needs fixes. Wait, Brayflock's got adjustments? Huh. I don't know why they've gone and reworked all of it. Maybe it's because they wanted to go, like, because they did the duty support system, they felt like they needed to go back and, like, sort of polish the shit nugget, which was A Realm Reborn, and just make it sort of fit the quality standards that are expected with the modern expansions. I like The Realm Reborn, but now being in Heaven's Ward, I realized that a lot of A Realm Reborn was very, very rough around the edges. Oh, right, PvP stuff as well. So I think I've talked about that in the previous version, or the previous episode. There is the new PvP mode, there is the new PvP gear. I am really excited about farming out my my Garo gear. So this was removed a little, I think like about half an expansion before I started playing. Now this gear is back in PvP. You can go back and farm it. Hopefully it stays around for a very long time, because I'm going to get all of it, because it all looks really cool, especially the really stupid gold gear. But I kind of just mainly want, I think it was the Astrologian gear that I was looking for. But honestly, all of the gear looks really cool, and you're going to see a lot of people running around. There's going to be a lot of Lalafels, actually. A lot of Lalafels running around with the full metal gear, the full, what's it called? The I don't know what it's called in the Garo series. I don't remember. It's been a long time since I watched Garo. But you're going to see a little Lalafell running around with the gold gear because it looks stupid. It just looks stupid. Yeah. I kind of like the new clothes that were added, though. Like, this is actually really cute. I'm probably going to have to get it. It's going to be very expensive. It's going to be very... It's probably going to be like 1 million gil on the market board first day, to be completely frank. And there's a lot more other stuff in the... Oh, this is also very important. There's another dog. Because we need more dog minions in the game. Because why wouldn't you need more dog minions? But there's a lot of other stuff going on in the patch notes. And a lot of it is sort of like... Wait, I just realized I completely forgot about to talk about one thing that went on with the patch notes. Okay, we're going to talk about that, and then we're going to move on to something else. So, there is this new system called Adventurer Plates. Basically, they're a little profile card you can have for your character to show off, to like, basically just show off your character. Say when you're playing the game and things like that. So, I touched on these last time, but yeah, I was right. This is weekend and weekday. It says like what sort of stuff you're doing and has a picture of your character, and you can like pose where you want your character to be standing. And now that it's available, as everybody predicted, and as I said I was going to do, but someone beat me to it, there is there's this. Because of course there is. Why wouldn't there be? So, and they're in an FC called Deep Canal Raider, because of course they are. Why wouldn't they be? But yeah, I and everybody else predicted that the ERPers were going to be making porn with it, because of course they were. And this is just what the in-game version looks like. I guarantee this person is running a mod which removes the clothing, but it is what it is. And the funny thing is, there's like a bit of molding in this Reddit thread about like, should this be allowed? Why? Like, like, should this be allowed? This person's bad. You can tell this person's a man. No woman would do this. Like, it's just Reddit being Reddit. But honestly, I love this feature. So, not just for the cat girl ass, but like for other things as well. What I kind of hope is that... Oh, I got a message from work. I'll check that afterwards. What I kind of hope is that the Adventurer Plates get expanded outside of just the PvP. So right now, the only time you're going to be seeing these portraits is when you go into, I think, just Crystalline Conflict. I don't know if it's going to be there for the other PvP modes, but in Crystalline Conflict, when you go into that mode, you will see this this picture. Or you'll see the picture for everyone on your team, which includes the picture of this cat girl ass. Because it's very important. But I kind of already want it to be for every single duty. So if you go into a dungeon, if you go into like anything that you party up with people and you go into some sort of instance, rather than just saying light party, full party, it now shows you who's going to be in your group. I think it'll be cool. I really hope they do it. Right now, this feature is just in beta, so I expect it to be sort of like reworked over time. I wouldn't be surprised if a report button gets added. I hope it doesn't. I didn't notice the text there. Hey, you, be my little PogChamp. There will probably be a report button, and people who are doing this are probably gonna get in trouble. I hope they don't, though, because this is good content. This is good content. This is Final Fantasy. Your game is funded by Kumas. Just leave them be and let them do what they want. So, is there anything else in here that I wanted to cover that I didn't already do so, or I didn't already think was not that important? I think I got everything. Yeah, I think I got everything I wanted to mention, actually. I keep doing this every single time I record the podcast. I set up this, like, long list of topics, and then I just don't end up covering half of them, which might not be a bad thing, because I saw Ranson the note, the timestamps he sent me, and I was like, wow, do I actually jump around that much in the podcast? And looking back on it, I think I actually do. Like, there's, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Last week's episode had 20 points in it. 19 if you exclude the start tag. That's too much. I talk about too much shit in this podcast. This is what happens when I'm doing solo podcasts. Like my my brain just goes just like jumps around to the most random fucking things. And even though like I do set up a bunch of topics, like a lot of the time I don't cover all the topics I list, but I still end up somehow jumping around to a bunch of other stuff anyway. One thing I did want to talk about, but there's not really that much time to get that much deep into it, that much depth in it, is the recent Earth 2 drama with Callum Upton. Maybe I'll cover it next week, because I don't expect it to be going away. Briefly, if you don't know, the developer of Earth 2 challenged Callum Upton to basically remake Earth 2 in a week. Because in a video, Callum said, you've done fuck all work, basically. I could just remake this in 7 days. Ultimately, he did. Like, he did the thing, and when... Like, before the challenge was set, Shane Isaac, the CEO of Earth 2, said, if you do this, I'll pay you $15,000, or $10,000? 15,000 Australian dollars, I think it was. What happened is he finished the challenge, and then turns out that Shane is the one that's working out who won the challenge. Turns out the guy with the money is gonna say, oh, mate, you didn't finish the challenge. Like, because that's a totally fair way to judge a challenge. You know you want the judges to be the ones that are also competing. No, stop it. Get some help. But obviously that didn't happen. But because of how much attention this has been getting from a lot of streamers like Asmongold and other big creators, Shane sort of had to, like, backpedal a little and start sort of addressing what's going on. Not letting Callum win the challenge, but sort of addressing the concerns being brought up by a lot of the YouTubers. He can't really just be going, oh, it doesn't really matter, you know, all publicity is good publicity. If you go into Google right now and you look up Earth 2, here we go. Actually, it's changed slightly. So, first one is Earth 2 Explained. Second one is Earth 2, a planet-sized scam. And then third one is a Josh's video on the challenge. Let's go over YouTube, actually. I know YouTube had some interesting results. Earth 2. Here you go. So, we had the Earth 2 challenge. That Josh talked about. We had Callum's response to Asmon's response to Callum's response to Isaac's video. Callum is seriously milking this. And to be fair, look, the guy's got 50k subs. I can respect it. He's clearly doing what he needs to do. And then you have, Asmon's video here where he's basically being like, this looks fucking stupid, effectively. You know, all publicity is good publicity, though. Even if people think your project is a scam, they know you exist, because that's how that works. That is called pure copium, and it doesn't work in the real world. Anyway, I think we're going to end off the podcast there. The other thing I didn't talk about is, apparently Elon is not going to be joining the Twitter board of directors, even though initially he was going to be. It seems like there might be some, like, internal conflict, and maybe the CEO doesn't want him to join. Because he's making it sound like Elon made the decision himself, but after it got cancelled, Elon posted, like, a single emoji on Twitter that people are maybe thinking, like, oh, he was trying to get, like, they were trying to silence him and try to stop him from joining. He is still the biggest shareholder of the company, though, so he still has a lot of power. The question is where that's going to go forward. I don't know, but I am still excited to see what's going to happen on that front. But anyway, that is going to be it for me. We are actually less than 50 days until I'm moving. We are at 48 days and 6 hours, which is so close. It's so close, but still so far. It's less than 7 weeks now. I am so excited for this. I'm so excited for the move to happen. I can't wait for it to happen. I'm very excited to actually have a decent connection back. Very excited. I'm probably going to start like half moving stuff over, so you might potentially see me do like a live stream for the new place or something like that, depending on what ends up happening, because I am going to get some stuff over there early, and Dylan's going to give me a key and all that. I'm going to help him move stuff in as well. But anyway, I said I was going to end the podcast. So that's going to be it for me. Gaming channel, Brody Robertson. Plays, that one. Main channel, Brody Robertson. I do Linux videos. I've been doing a lot of Wayland stuff recently. I have no plans to stop that. I actually have plans to do a lot more. So keep your eyes out for that. And yeah, if you like Wayland stuff, or you just want to see what Wayland is all about, that's probably a good place to go. Gaming channel, I am slowly running out of content, but we still got enough. It's coming back. It's coming back when I get to the new place. I'll have new art. I'm in the process still getting some stuff done. Yeah. Then for the podcast, the audio version is available basically anywhere you can find audio podcasts. The video version is available on the YouTubes. And yeah, that's going to be pretty much it for me. I am going to go and finish editing some videos, then go to work, and then wake up, and then edit some more videos, and then upload some videos, and then go to work, and then go to sleep, and then play Final Fantasy. Yeah, that's going to be it. I don't know why I told you I'm doing that 2 days, but it is what it is. I don't think I have anything else to say. So I am going to go now. So I'm out.